Welcome, listeners, to our very first podcast in this series. We're very excited to present to you the lectures of Srila Prabhupada with spoken transcriptions. When I moved into the ashram in Los Angeles in 1987, there was no internet, no cell phones, no computers. We only had books and edited lectures from Srila Prabhupada on cassette tape produced by the BBT. The sound quality of Srila Prabhupada's recordings were poor, and the medium of cassette tapes also degraded the quality. Adding Srila Prabhupada's strong accent, it was very difficult to understand what he was saying. But we listened to them anyways, though I mostly understood about half of what he was saying. Fortunately, my Guru Maharaj, Srila Virabahu Maharaj, gave regular classes in his apartment and would take one of Srila Prabhupada's lectures, play 10 to 15 seconds at a time, and pause and speak out loud what Srila Prabhupada had said. Sometimes I couldn't understand a single word from Srila Prabhupada's class and was dumbfounded when my Guru Maharaj would stop and repeat back what Prabhupada spoke. Soon I could start to understand words, and eventually it clicked and I could understand everything that Prabhupada was saying. In our current world, with all technology and all of Srila Prabhupada's works and lectures available online, I am still confronted with new devotees who struggle with Srila Prabhupada's lectures. Many people who English is a second language or are new to Krishna jargon and lecture format have told me that they don't understand much of what Prabhupada is saying, so they don't go to his lectures for spiritual direction. So as a humble offering, I am presenting a podcast series of some of Srila Prabhupada's early recordings with spoken transcriptions. Before we continue, I want to profusely thank my Guru Maharaj, Srila Virabahu Maharaj, who has given me the direction and understanding to hear Srila Prabhupada's lectures, a daily source of inspiration, and to all the devotees who encouraged me to take up this project. Please, dear listeners, forgive any mistakes in this endeavor. I am only an ant trying to help build Srila Prabhupada's mission, and so if I can inspire only one person from this endeavor, I will call it a success.
Chaturvidhasi Bhagavad Prasada Sadvarnatitan Harivakta Sanghan Daiva Tripting Bhajata Sadaiva Daiva Tripting Bhajata Sadaiva Mande Gura Sri Charanarabindam Mande Gura Sri Charanarabindam.
Our first lecture is on the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, Text 11, spoken on March 4th, 1966 in New York City. To set the scene of this lecture, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada had been in America for 4 months when he began a diary of his daily notes and accounts. In that notebook, Srila Prabhupada described the early part of 1966 as one of hardship. At 69 years of age, having no money or followers, nor the means to live independently, and often alone with a limited opportunity for preaching, Srila Prabhupada sometimes contemplated going back to India. On January 19th, when the first entry occurred in his journal, Srila Prabhupada is living in the rear rooms of the yoga studio of Dr. Ramamurti Mishra at Suite 501, 100 West 72nd Street on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Daily, Srila Prabhupada walks several blocks to Dr. Mishra's residential apartment in the snow to bathe and to cook his meals. In the evening, Srila Prabhupada holds classes for interested persons. Some of Dr. Mishra's students attend these classes. During the day, Srila Prabhupada is active in selling his books to bookstores with warm reception. He writes to newspapers and radio stations and organizes occasional speaking engagements. On the weekends, Srila Prabhupada joins Dr. Mishra on yoga retreats at the Ananda Ashram in Monroe in upstate New York. Here, he conducts kirtans, which the students appreciate, but Dr. Mishra hardly asks him to speak. On February 2nd, Srila Prabhupada purchases a tape recorder to record classes and kirtans. This is a major expenditure for him. He pays the equivalent of 1 month's rent for the recorder. In his journal entry, it reads, one SD-20 tape recorder for $54.02, guaranteed for 90 days. The next day, Srila Prabhupada's journal entry reads, today there was a very nice demonstration of tape record Sankirtan by me. It is all grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Haridas Thakur said that the transcendental sound of Harinam would even purify the heart of birds and beasts. Today, his statement of Haridas Thakur is collaborated. These Americans cannot understand even a word meaning of the Sankirtan, yet they were so much attracted. It is all Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's power. There is no credit for me. Sometimes no one would show for Prabhupada's class. On February 11th, he wrote in his journal, there was no response of the visitors invited to come to join Hari Kirtan this evening at 7:30 p.m. But I alone executed the Kirtan ceremony with my tape recorder until 10 p.m. Srila Prabhupada's persistence in preserving his spoken word has resulted in a permanent legacy of over 2,000 hours of invaluable tape recordings. Soon, Srila Prabhupada was tiring of going to Dr. Mishra's studio to only do kirtan. He had a mission to push forward and wanted to preach the message of Sri Chaitanya. On February 18th, his journal entry reads, Dr. Mishra asked me to come to the ashram, but I didn't go, simply waste of time. Srila Prabhupada decides it's better for him to record his lectures in his room, even if no one shows. On February 20th, he completes the tape recording of the Gita Upanishad introduction. Years later, this becomes the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita as it is. After the Bhagavad Gita introduction recording, on March 2nd, Srila Prabhupada started recording regular classes on the Bhagavad Gita, starting with Chapter 2, verse 7 and 11. The verse we are starting our podcast on is the third known recording of Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita Chapter 2, verse 11, recorded March 4th, 1966, in his room with a few attendees. So Krishna is, in this sentence, he's identified that Bhagavan.
So, Krishna is in this he's identified the Bhagavan.
Bhagavan means that nobody can surpass his knowledge.
Bhagavan means that nobody can surpass his knowledge.
Because I have already given the definition of Bhagavan, that a personality who is in full all the opulences.
Because I have already given the definition of Bhagavan, that a personality who is in full all the opulences.
wealth, strength, fame, and knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. He is God.
Wealth, strength, fame, and knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. He is God.
You see, so now, in this, at the present moment, when people are godless, I think this definition is convincing.
So, now in this, at the present moment when people are godless, I think this definition is convincing.
If you find out a personality that, one, who has got in full all these opulences, he is God.
If you find out a personality, that one who has got in full all these opulences, he is God.
Then it will be very difficult to present an ordinary man as God. You see?
Then it will be very difficult to present an ordinary man as God. You see?
You will find that in the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna was convinced that Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead,
you will find that in the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna was convinced that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead,
but because in future others will have doubt about Krishna, he requested Krishna that, will you show me your universal form?
but because in future others will have doubt about Krishna, he requested Krishna, will you show me your universal form?
And Krishna agreed and showed him the universal form.
And Krishna agreed and showed him the universal form.
That means in the future, any intelligent man accepting a so-called God may also ask him.
That means in future, any intelligent man accepting a so-called God may also ask him,
just show something that you are God.
just show something that you are God.
Without showing something, simply by false advertisement, one cannot be God.
Without showing something simply by false advertisement, one cannot be God.
So the whole mistake is that we do not know what is God.
So whole mistake is that we do not know what is God.
We consider God may be like just one of us.
We consider God maybe just like one of us.
No, the God who is controlling such a huge affairs of universal administration.
No. The God who is controlling such a huge affairs of universal administration,
He cannot be. He is superconscious. That is super consciousness.
he cannot be. He is superconscious. That is superconsciousness.
Now, here, asochan anvasochastvam pragyan varamscha basyase.
Now, yet, asachan suchastam pragamanan sukhasus.
This verse is Bhagavad Gita 2:11. And the translation of the verse is, the Blessed Lord said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living or the dead. So now back to Prabhupada. Now, the whole living existence is a very subtle thing.
Living existence is a very subtle thing.
Now, this body made of earth, water, fire, air, sky, this gross body,
now this body made of earth, water, fire, air, sky, this gross body.
and behind this, there is another subtle body.
And behind this, there is another subtle body.
That is mind, intelligence, and ego.
That is mind, intelligence, and ego.
So when we give up this gross body, that subtle body carries me to another gross body.
So when we give up this gross body, that subtle body carries me to another gross body.
So when this body is lifeless, that body, subtle body, is not lifeless.
So when this body is lifeless, that body, subtle body, is not lifeless.
Just like at night, when the gross body is asleep, the subtle body works. Therefore, we dream.
Just like at night, when this gross body is asleep, the subtle body works. Therefore we dream.
So, subtle body carries to next life.
The subtle body carries to next life.
And I have given in the introduction that how one man changes his body.
And I have given in the introduction that how one man changes his body.
Yam yam vapi smaran loke chyajatyante kalevaram. This is Bhagavad Gita 8:6. And the translation is, whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Now back to Prabhupada. Now, the subtle body, I mean to say, mind, intelligence, and ego, when these three things, psychic life, is absorbed in a certain kind of thought, the dying man gets a similar body in the next life.
Now the subtle body, and the mind, intelligence, and ego, when these three things, psychic life, is absorbed in a certain kind of thought, the dying man gets a similar body in the next life.
That we shall come when we make progress in the study of Bhagavad Gita. Just like the air passing over the rose tree carries the flavor of the rose, and the air passing over a filthy place carries the flavor of that filthy place.
That we shall come when we make progress in the study of Bhagavad Gita, just like the air passing over the rose tree carries the flavor of the rose, and the air passing over a filthy place carries the flavor of that filthy place.
The air is pure, but because it is passing over certain conditions, it carries the flavor.
The air is pure, but because it is passing over certain conditions, it carries the flavor.
Similarly, the mind, intelligence, and ego carries the flavor of our present activities to the next life.
Similarly, the mind, intelligence, and ego carries the flavor of our present activities to the next life.
That is the subtle mystery of transmigration of the soul from one body to another.
That is the subtle mystery of transmigration of the soul from one body to another.
Now, if this is the life we purify, just like rose, the next life we shall get a body which is full of flavor.
Now, if this life we purify just like rose, the next life we shall get a body which is full of flavor.
If, in this life, if we practice devotion of God, the next life is to become the associate of God.
If in this life, if we practice devotion of God, the next life is to become the associate of God.
That Chintamani Prakara Sadmasu. This is the Brahma Samhita 5:29. And the translation is, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, yielding all desire, in the abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. Back to Srila Prabhupada. We are transferred to that planet, you see? These are simple things.
And that Chintamani Prakarasa, we are transferred to that planet. These are simple things.
The whole thing is in my hand. If I want to be degraded, I can prepare myself in this life for such degradation in the next life.
The whole thing is in my head. If I want to be degraded, I can prepare myself in this life for such degradation in the next life.
And if we want to elevate ourselves to the highest perfection of life, as to become one of the associates of God, we can prepare ourselves like that.
And if we want to elevate ourselves to the highest perfection of life, as to become one of the associates of God, we can prepare ourselves like that.
You'll find in the advanced chapters that Yanti Deva Vrata Devan Pitran Yanti Pitra Vrataha.
You'll find in the advanced chapters that Janti Deva Vrata Devan Pitrin Janti Pitri Vrataha.
So this is Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, text 25. And the translation is, those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors. And those who worship me will live with me. So back to Srila Prabhupada. Now, we are trying to go to the moon planet.
Now, we are trying to go to the moon planet.
Now, here in this life, if we cultivate ourselves for the same thought, the moon planet.
Now, here in this life, if we cultivate ourselves for the same thought, the moon planet.
That means the moon planet, about moon planet, we have to hear. And we have to think that I shall go in such and such place. I shall.
That means the moon planet, about moon planet we have to hear and we have to think that I shall go in the such and such place.
Unless you hear, you cannot abide here.
You hear, you cannot abide here.
Just like our friend, Mr. Cohen, he has left for California.
Just like our friend, Mr. Cohen, he has left for California.
Now, so far I am concerned, I have no idea of California.
Now, so far I am concerned, I have no idea of California.
Now, he has told me that after reaching there, he'll write about the description of the place.
Now, he has told me that after reaching there, he will write about the description of the place.
Now, suppose if reading that description of the place, I think of going there, so I prepare myself.
Now suppose if reading that description of the place, I think of going there, so I prepare myself. Why not?
Oh, I must go there. So just like I was describing that Chintamani Dham, what sort of trees are there?
I must go there. So, and just like I was describing that Chintamani Dham, what sort of trees are there?
And you were very much pleased that I must go there. So we have to hear.
And you are very much pleased that I must go there. So we have to hear.
Unless we hear what sort of God He is, what sort of God's place is, what is the mode of life there, we cannot be attracted. We cannot be attracted.
Unless we hear what sort of God is, what sort of God's place is, what is the mode of life there, we cannot be attracted. We cannot be attracted.
So here they say that gata san agata samscha.
So here they say the gatasum or gatasumscha.
There are two sort of bodies in which we are now entered.
There are two sort of bodies in which we are now entered.
Now suppose this gross body appears to be now dead and gone.
Now, suppose this gross body appears to be now dead and gone,
Stopped, but one must know that subtle body has carried him to another body.
But one must know that subtle body has carried him to another body.
So subtle body is not lost life. The life is there.
The subtle body is not lost life. The life is there.
So here Krishna says that either of the gross body or of subtle body has to be also left.
So here Krishna says that either of the gross body or a subtle body has to be also left.
When you get liberation, that subtle body, that egotistic life has also to be left.
When you get liberation, that subtle body, that egoistic life has also to be left.
Now at any condition, the body has to be left. So why one should cry for the body?
Now at any condition, the body has to be left. So why one should cry for this body?
Therefore Krishna says that a learned man does not lament over this body.
Therefore Krishna says that a learned man does not lament over this body.
The whole question that a soul is different from this body, the whole question is solved in one verse. You see?
The whole question that a soul is different from this body, the whole question is solved in one verse, you see.
Gatasan agatasams nano sochanti panditaha.
Gatasum agatasumscha nanu suchanti pandita.
This is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 11. I'll read the translation. The Blessed Lord said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. So back to Srila Prabhupada. One who is actually learned, he does not. He has no concern over the body.
One who is actually learned, he does not. He has no concern of this body.
He's concerned with the activities of the soul.
He is concerned with the activities of the soul.
So you are speaking of so many things that if these my friends die, their wives will become widows.
And so you are speaking of so many things that if these my friends die, their wives will become widow.
These are all according to the bodily relation you are speaking.
These are all according to the bodily relation you are speaking.
And you are posing yourself just like a learned man, but you are fool number one.
And you are posing yourself that's like a very learned man, but you are a fool number one.
Because your whole conception is on the body.
Because your whole conception is on the body.
Your whole conception of argument with me was of the body.
Your whole conception of argument with me was on the body.
But you are posing yourself just as if you are a very learned man.
But you are posing himself just as if you are very learned man.
So anyone who has got conception, the identification of this body, he is not a learned man. He is a fool.
Anyone who has got conception, the identification of this body, he is not a learned man. He is a fool.
He may be in the calculation of academic education. He may be BA, MA, PhD, DAC, or something like that.
He may be into the calculation of academic education. He may be BA, MA, PhD, DSc, or something like doctor. But if he has got his identification with this body, he is not a learned man according to Bhagavad Gita. But if he has got his identification with this body, he is not a learned man according to Bhagavad Gita.
Not only according to whole Vedic culture. This is the first instruction.
Only according to the whole Vedic literature. This is the first instruction.
This is if we want to make progress towards spiritual advancement of knowledge, this preliminary knowledge we must have that I am not this body. I am not this body.
If we want to make progress towards spiritual advancement of knowledge, this preliminary knowledge we must have. That I am not this body. I am not this body.
This is the preliminary standing of spiritual knowledge. This is not advancement. This is simply ABCD. ABCD of spiritual life.
This is the preliminary standing of spiritual knowledge. This is not advancement. This is simply ABCD. ABCD of spiritual life.
In the Bhagavata, there's a very nice verse in this connection in which it is stated, Yasyatma buddhi kunapetri datuke sadihi kalatradishu boma ijadihi.
In the Bhagavad, there is a very nice verse in this connection in which it is stated, Jasatma buddhi kunapetri dhatuke sadhik kalatradi subhoma ijjadhi.
So this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th canto, chapter 84, text 13. And the translation is, one who identifies his self as the inert body composed of mucus, bile, and air, who assumes his wife and family are permanently his own, who thinks an earthen image or the land of his birth is worshipable, or who sees a place of pilgrimage as merely the water there, but who never identifies himself with, feels kinship with, worships, or even visits those who are wise in spiritual truth. Such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. So back to Srila Prabhupada. Yasyatma buddhi kunapetri dakute. Kunape means this bag made of 3 elements.
Jasatma buddhi kunape tridhatuke. Kunape means this bag made of 3 elements.
Now, according to Ayurvedic medical system, this body is made of 3 elements: kapha, pitta, vayu. Kapha, pitta, vayu.
Now, according to Ayurvedic medical system, this body is made of 3 elements. Kapha, pitta, vayu. Kapha, pitta, vayu.
A woman asks, 3 elements? Srila Prabhupada, yes, kapha. Kapha means cold, coldness.
3 elements? Yes, kapha means coldness.
Common.
Woman asks, common? Prabhupada, what do you call cough? Yes, kapha, pitta, vayu. Coldness, heat, and air.
Cup, what do you call cupping? Yes, kapha, pitta, vayu. Coldness, heat, and air.
Coldness, heat, and air, yes. Only these 3 things constitute this body. Therefore, it is called a bag made of 3 elements: coldness, air, and fire. Heat.
Coldness, heat, and air. Yes. Only these 3 things constitute this body. That's what is called a bag made of 3 elements: coldness, air, and fire. Heat.
Heat, coldness, and air. This body's made.
Heat, coldness, and air. This body is made.
Then the woman asks, what? What does coldness stand for? And Prabhupada says, coldness, you can take it for water or secretion.
What does coldness stand for?
Coldness, you can take it for water or secretion.
Water.
Yes.
And the woman says, water. And Prabhupada says, yes.
Yes, water, fire.
Water, fire, and air.
And the woman says, yes, water, fire, and air. Prabhupada, water, fire, and air. Woman, that's better.
Now,
the Bhagavata says that yasyatma buddhi kunapitri dadukte. If anyone, he's identified with this body made of water, air, and fire.
the Bhagavad says that Jasatma buddhi kunapeti dhaduke. If anyone is identified with this body made of water, air, and fire,
And yasyatma buddhi kunapetri daduke. This is a body made of 3 things.
and Jasatma buddhi kunapeti dhaduke. This is a body made of 3 things.
Now, and sadi kalatradishu. And if one thinks the issues, the byproducts of this body as his own kinsman,
Now, and sadhik kalatradishu, and if one thinks the issues, the byproducts of this body as his own kinsmen,
just like my children, my wife, my relatives, my father, my mother, my brother, my nation, my society, everything is due to this bodily relation.
just like my children, my wife, my relatives, my father, my mother, my brother, my nation, my society, everything is due to this bodily relation.
And there are thousands of women loitering in the street of the New York.
And there are thousands of women loitering in the street of the New York.
And suppose I have some bodily connection with you. I call you my wife.
And suppose I have got some bodily connection with you, I call you my wife.
And because I have got bodily relation with you, all the children produced by you, they are my children. You see?
And because I have got bodily relation with you, all the children produced by you, they are my children. You see?
So the whole thing is, the basic principle is wrong, that I am this body.
The whole thing is, the basic principle is wrong, that I am this body.
Now from the expansion of the body, the whole thing is false.
And now from the expansion of the body, the whole thing is false.
Because I am not this body, so my expansion of body is also not I am.
Because I am not this body, so my expansion of body is also not I.
But whole world is going on this false impression. The whole world is going on.
But whole world is going on this false impression. The whole world is going on.
The fighting between one nation and another nation, because due to this body.
They're fighting between one nation and another nation because due to this body.
So yasyatma buddhi kunapetri datuke, one who is identified with this body, which is made of water, fire, and air, and the issues from this body as kinsmen and own men.
One who is identified with this body, which is made of water, fire, and air, and the issues from this body as kinsmen and own men.
Yasyatma buddhi kunapetri da swadi kala tradishu. And I mean to say attachment for such issues.
The satu buddhi kunapetri da sadik kala tradishu, and I mean the attachment for such issues.
And boma ijyadi, and the land from which this body has grown up, that is worshipable.
And boma ijyadi, and the land from which this body has grown up, that is worshipable.
Now everybody is fighting for the land. Oh, we are Indian, we are Pakistani, we are Vietnamese, we are American, we are German.
Now everybody is fighting for the land. We are Indian, we are Pakistani, we are Vietnamese, we are American, we are German. The fighting.
So much fighting is going on. The land, for the land. So land has become worshipable. So worshipable that one has sacrificed his valuable life for that land.
So much fighting is going on. The land for the land. So land has become worshipable, so worshipable that one is sacrificed his valuable life for that land.
You see, but the land is so dear. Why? This body has become grown up from this land. So that is there, the bodily connection.
You see? But the land is so dear. Why? Because his body has become grown up from this land. So that is also there, the bodily connection.
So, yasyatma buddhi kunapetri dadukte swadi kala tradishu boma ijyadi.
So jasatu buddhi kunapeti dhalke sadik kalatradishu bhoma ijyadi.
Boma, in the land, they have no meaning for God. Now, the Russian philosophy, they have no meaning for God, but they have every meaning for their land.
Boma, in the land, they have no what, they have no meaning for God, not the Russian philosophy. They have no meaning for God, but they have every meaning for their land.
For the land. So land they're identified as worshipable, and they're prepared to sacrifice anything for the land.
For the land as they are identified as worshipable, and they're prepared to sacrifice anything for the land.
So yasyatma buddhi kunapetri da tuke, one who is identified with this body, and one who thinks the bodily offshoots as his own men, and the land from which the body has grown as worshipable.
One who is identified with his body, and one who thinks the bodily offshoots as his own man, and the land from which the body has grown as worshipable.
Yat tirtha buddhi salile. Yat tirtha buddhi salile.
Jatirtha buddhi salile. Jatirtha buddhi salile.
Now, in Christian world also, that the water of the Jordan River is sacred, is considered.
In Christian world also, that the water of the Jordan River is sacred, is considered.
Similarly, Hindus also, when they go to some pilgrimage, they take bath on the sacred river.
Similarly, Hindus also, when they go to some pilgrimage, they take bath on the sacred river.
But one should know that going to the sacred place does not mean simply to take bath in that water.
But one should know that going to the sacred place does not mean simply to take bath in that water.
Real meaning of going to a sacred place, to find out some intelligent scholar in spiritual knowledge. They are living there.
Real meaning of going to a sacred place to find out some intelligent scholar in spiritual knowledge. They are living there.
To make association with them, to take knowledge from them. That is the purpose of going to pilgrimage.
To make association with them, to take knowledge from them. That is the purpose of going to pilgrimage.
Because in pilgrimage, holy places, just like my residence is at Vrindavan.
Because in pilgrimage, in holy places, just like my residence is at Vrindavan.
So at Vrindavan, there are many great scholars and saintly persons living.
So at Vrindavan, there are many great scholars and saintly persons living.
So one should go to such holy places not simply to take bath in the water, but he must be intelligent enough to find out some spiritually advanced man living there and take instruction from him.
So one should go to such holy places not simply to take bath in the water, but he must be intelligent enough to find out some spiritually advanced man living there and take instruction from him.
And be benefited by that. But he does not go. He takes simply bath and purchases some goods and advertises.
Benefited by that. But he does not go. He takes simply bath and purchases some goods and advertises what?
Oh, I have been to such and such place pilgrimage. Well, yasyatma buddhi kunapetri daduke. And yat tirtha buddhi salile na karahicha jagyasva adhi geshu. He has the attachment for pilgrimage, for taking bath only, but he has no attraction for the learned people. There, you see?
No, I have been to such and such pilgrimage. So the sa buddhi kunapeti dhatuki jatirtha buddhi salile na karhiche janesu abhigyesu. He has the attachment for pilgrimage for taking bath only, but he has no attraction for the learned people there. You see?
So such kind of man is considered as ass. Sa eva gokara.
So such kind of man is considered as ass. So eva gokara.
So this is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 84, Text 13. I'll read the translation. One who identifies himself as the inner body, composed of mucus, bile, and air, who assumes his wife and family are permanent, his own, who thinks an earthen image or the land of his birth is worshipable, or who sees a place of pilgrimage as merely the water there, but who never identifies himself with, feels kinship with, worships, or even visits those who are wise in spiritual truth. Such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. So back to Prabhupada. Gokara, gokara. Go means cow and kara means ass.
Gokara. Go means cow and kara means ass.
So practically the whole world is moving as the civilization of cow and asses, because the whole thing is identification with this. The center is this body, an expansion of the body, the attraction. The whole attraction is there, yes?
So practically the whole world is moving as the civilization of cow and asses. Because the whole thing is identification with this. The big center is this body, an expansion of the body, the attraction, the whole attraction is there. Yes, you want to.
So a woman asks, yes, in the places known as sacred places, Prabhupada says yes.
Yes, in the places known as secret places.
Yes.
Isn't sacred places? Prabhupada says yes.
Sacred places.
Yes.
Isn't it?
And then the woman says, isn't it also a fact that there is more magnetism there because of the meeting of? And Prabhupada says, oh yes, certainly.
Also the fact that there is more magnetism there because of the meeting of the saints and more advanced people.
And the woman says, saints and more advanced people? And Prabhupada says, certainly, therefore the place itself has got some magnetism, you see?
Certainly. Therefore the place itself has got some magnetism.
Yes.
And the woman asks, yes, and where they have Kumbh Mela? And Prabhupada answers, just like at Vrindavan. At Vrindavan, that is practical.
Right. At Vrindavan, that is practical.
Now here I am sitting, New York, a very great, the world's greatest city, so magnificent city, but my heart is always hankering after that Vrindavan.
Now, here I am sitting in New York, the very great, the world's greatest city, so magnificent city. But my heart is always hankering after the Vrindavan.
The woman says, yes. Prabhupada says, yes. I am not happy here.
Yes, I am not happy here.
Yes.
The woman says, yes, I know. Prabhupada answers, I shall be very happy to return to Vrindavan, that sacred place.
I shall be very happy to return to my Vrindavan, that sacred place.
But then, why are you? Now, because it is my duty, I have brought some message for you people.
But then why you are? Now, because it is my duty. I have brought some message for you people.
Because I am ordered by superior, my spiritual master, that whatever you have learned, you should go to the Western country and you must distribute this knowledge.
Because I am ordered by superior, my spiritual master, that whatever you have learned, you should go to the Western country and you must distribute this knowledge.
So in spite of all my difficulties, all my inconveniences, I am here because I am in duty.
So in spite of all my difficulties, all my inconveniences, I am here because I am in duty.
That is my personal convenience. If I go and sit down at Vrindavan, I shall be very comfortable there. And I'll have no anxiety, nothing of the sort. You see?
That is my personal convenience. If I go and sit down at Vrindavan, I shall be very comfortable there. And I have no anxiety, nothing of the sort, you see.
But I have taken all the risk in the old age because I am in duty bound. I am in duty bound. So I have to execute my duty in spite of all my inconveniences. That is the idea.
But I have taken all the risks in the old age because I am in duty bound. I am in duty bound. So I have to execute my duty in spite of all my inconveniences. That is the idea.
So this is the whole thing. The whole basic principle of spiritual advancement of knowledge. One should first be convinced that he is not the body.
So this is the whole thing. The whole basic principle of spiritual advancement of knowledge. One should first be convinced that he is not this body.
He is not the body. Then other spiritual knowledge will begin. This is the basic principle. You will find it.
He is not this body. Then other spiritual knowledge will begin. This is the basic principle. You will find it.
You will find it in the Bhagavad Gita that this situation of spiritual life is called Brahmabhuta, Brahman.
You'll find it in the Bhagavad Gita that this situation of spiritual life is called Brahma Bhuta Avastha. Brahma. So,
and the verse is Brahmabhuta prasanatma na sochati na kanchati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param.
Brahmabhuta prasannatma na sochati na kanchati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhakti labate param.
This is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 54. And the translation is, and of all the yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshiping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. So back to Prabhupada. So unless one understands himself, he also cannot understand God also.
So, unless one understands himself, he also cannot understand God also.
In his misunderstanding position. Now, what Dr. Mishra is teaching is very nice because he is teaching that just first of all, you know what I am,
In his misunderstanding position. Now, what Dr. Mishra is teaching is very nice, because he is teaching that just first of all you know what I am, what I am.
That is very good, but that what I am can be known from the Bhagavad Gita also, that I am not the body, I am not this body. That knowledge, at least theoretically, one must accept that I am not this body.
So that's very good. But that what I am can be known from the Bhagavad Gita also, that I am not this body. I am not this body.
That knowledge, at least theoretically, one must accept that I am not this body.
That knowledge, at least theoretically, one must accept that I am not this body.
Now Krishna is describing that what is the position? I am not the body. That is all right.
Now, Krishna is describing that what is the position? I am not this body. That's all right.
Now actually, what we are, I am not the body, that's all right. Then, what we are.
Now, actually, what we are. I am not body, that's all right. Then, what we are.
Now the next version is Krishna. We must always know that Krishna, here it is said, Bhagavan Uvacha. Bhagavan Uvacha. Bhagavan Uvacha means that he has got so extensive knowledge that there cannot be any mistake.
Now the next person is Krishna. We must always know that Krishna, here it is said, Bhagavan Uvacha. Bhagavan Uvacha. Bhagavan Uvacha means that he has got so extensive knowledge that there cannot be any mistake.
He's authority. He's authority. So whatever he says is right. That is the conception of Bhagavan.
His authority. So whatever he says is right. That is the conception of Bhagavan.
Here it is not said Krishna Uvacha, because somebody may doubt Krishna, that Krishna was a historical personality. Why you should be so much concerned with Krishna?
Here it is not said Krishna Uvacha, because somebody may doubt Krishna. Well, Krishna was a historical personality. Why you should be so much concerned with Krishna?
As is general view. But here it is said Bhagavan Uvacha. And I have given you the definition of Bhagavan, that he is all knowledge. So whatever he will speak, Bhagavan, there cannot be any mistake.
As is general view. But here it is said Bhagavan Uvacha. And I have given him the definition of Bhagavan, that he is all knowledge. So whatever he will speak, Bhagavan, there cannot be any mistake.
For ordinary persons, there are four difficulties, four imperfections.
For ordinary persons, there are four difficulties, four imperfectness.
Just like we are ordinary man, we've got four imperfections. What is that imperfectionness? That we must commit mistakes. We must commit mistakes.
Just like we are ordinary men, we have got four imperfectness. What is that imperfectness? That we must commit mistake. We must commit mistake.
Our constitutional position at the present moment is that we are sure to commit mistake. Even great politician like Gandhi, he committed mistake. And so many great men, they committed mistake.
Our constitutional position at the present moment is such that we are sure to commit mistake. Even greatest politician like Gandhi, he committed mistake. And so many great men, they committed mistake.
To err is human. Therefore it is called that any man, however he may be great, in the estimation of this world, he is sure to commit mistake.
Any human, that is called, that any man, however he may be great in the estimation of this world, he is sure to commit mistake.
And another imperfection is that he is illusioned.
Yeah? And another imperfection is that he is illusioned.
And then a woman asked or says, deluded. Prabhupada says, illusioned. Now, illusioned you can see. Illusion means taking one thing for another.
Illusion. Now, illusion, you can see, illusion means taking one thing for another.
That is called illusion. Just like in the desert, accepting the sand as water. That is called illusion.
It's called illusion. Just like in the desert, accepting the sand as water. That is called illusion.
Similarly, every one of us who are identified with this body, he's under illusion. But that's the false thing. But he has no knowledge.
Similarly, every one of us who are identified with this body, he is under illusion. But that's a false thing. But he has no knowledge.
Even President Johnson, he is under illusion. Even the greatest scientist, he is under this illusion. So that one is sure to commit mistakes, and one is under illusion. And Brahma, Pramada, and Vipralipsa. Vipralipsa means the tendency for cheating.
Even President Johnson, he is under illusion. Even the greatest scientist, he is under this illusion. So, that one is sure to commit mistake, and one is under illusion, and Brahm, Brahma, Vipralipsa. Vipralipsa means the tendency for cheating.
And then a woman asks, that is the fourth? Prabhupada, that is the third. First is that one is sure to commit mistakes. One is sure to be an illusion. And one is adapted to cheat others.
That is the third. First is that one is sure to commit mistake. One is sure to be in illusion. And one is adapted to cheat others.
Now he is imperfect, but he wants to give knowledge to others. That is cheating. Everyone is imperfect, but he wants to give knowledge to others.
Now he is imperfect, but he wants to give knowledge to others. That is cheating. Everyone is imperfect, but he wants to give knowledge to others.
Then you can ask that, you are also giving us knowledge. No, I am not giving you knowledge. I am speaking Bhagavad Gita. I am giving you knowledge as given by Lord Krishna. It is not my knowledge.
Then you can ask that you are also giving us knowledge. No, I am not giving you knowledge. I am speaking Bhagavad Gita. I am giving you knowledge as given by Lord Krishna. It is not my knowledge.
And then the woman asks or says, but this is your own interpretation. And Prabhupada says, not interpretation, it is reading.
But it's his own interpretation.
Not interpretation, it is reading.
And the woman says, one can cheat. Prabhupada, I give you, no cheat. No, that is also in the definition of a conditioned soul.
I give you cheat. No, that is also in the definition of a conditioned soul.
These four principles are there. It is not my manufactured thing.
These four principles are there. It is not my manufactured things.
These are information from authoritative scriptures that a conditioned soul has four imperfections.
These are information from authoritative scriptures that a conditioned soul has four imperfectness.
One imperfectness is that he's sure to commit mistakes. He's illusioned, and he has got a tendency to cheat. And above all, his senses are imperfect.
One imperfectness is that he is sure to commit mistake. He is illusion. And he has got a tendency to cheat. And above all, his senses are imperfect.
So anyone who is above all these four imperfectness, who never commits mistake, who is never illusioned, who never cheats other, and who has got perfect senses, he is God.
So anyone who is above all these four imperfectness, who never commits mistake, who is never illusion, who never cheats other, and who has got perfect senses, he is God.
That is also another definition of God. He may not be. God is supreme, God. But anyone who comes to this stage of life, he is liberated. He's good as God.
That is also another definition of God. He may not be God, the supreme God, but anyone who comes to this stage of life, he is liberated. He is as good as God.
Thank you, dear listeners. I am most appreciative of your time and attention. All kirtans and lectures found in these podcasts are from prabhupadavani.org. Please go to prabhupadavani.org and discover the warehouse of Srila Prabhupada's recorded audio and transcriptions. It is the most amazing site ever. And please subscribe to this podcast to get notifications for future releases. This lowly servant of the servant prays that I may always find shelter at the feet of my Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Thank you again. Until next time.